You've seen this player before. He's got the skills, great first touch, can beat players one-on-one, looks amazing in training. Everyone says he's talented. But then match day comes, and somehow he disappears. He barely touches the ball, makes poor decisions, looks nervous, and finishes the game wondering what happened. Meanwhile, another player, who isn't faster, stronger, or more skillful, controls the entire match. He always seems available, always has time on the ball, always makes the right choice, and somehow he looks like the better player. Why? Because football is one of the few sports where being talented isn't enough. And if you're constantly underperforming in matches despite working hard, the problem might not be your technique. It might be your football IQ. In fact, football IQ is often the difference between talented players who stay average and average players who become exceptional. And today, I'm going to show you the biggest football IQ mistakes that are silently holding players back, and how to fix them. Because once you understand this, you'll start seeing the game completely differently. Problem reframe: most players think football IQ means being smart. It doesn't. Football IQ isn't about intelligence, it's about information. More specifically, how quickly you collect information, how accurately you understand it, and how fast you act on it. Here's the mistake. Most players focus almost all their attention on what happens when they receive the ball. Elite players focus on what happens before they receive it. That's a huge difference. Because by the time the ball reaches you, the best decision should already be made. The game moves too fast to start thinking after your first touch. If you're waiting until the ball arrives to figure things out, you're already late. And that's where most talented players get stuck. They train skills, but they never train awareness. They improve technique, but they ignore perception. So let's talk about the hidden reason this happens. Hidden cause: the biggest football IQ problem isn't poor decision-making. It's poor information gathering. Think about it. Imagine driving a car while only looking straight ahead. Technically, you're driving, but you're missing most of the information around you. Now replace the car with a football match. That's how many players play. They focus only on the ball, only on the player directly in front of them, only on what's obvious. And because they collect limited information, they make limited decisions. The result: they constantly feel rushed, pressured, surprised, and one step behind, not because they're slow, because they're uninformed. The best footballers seem calm because they already know what's happening before everyone else. Football IQ starts long before the ball arrives. And that brings us to the first lesson. Lesson 1. Scan before you need to. One of the easiest ways to spot a high IQ player is simple. Watch their head. Seriously, before receiving the ball, they're constantly checking their surroundings. Left, right, over the shoulder. Again, again, again. Why? Because scanning gives you something incredibly valuable. Time, not actual time, perceived time. Two players receive the same pass. One scans beforehand, the other doesn't. The player who scanned already knows where pressure is coming from, where teammates are positioned, where space exists, what his next action will be. The other player has to figure all of that out after receiving. That's why one looks composed and the other looks rushed. Here's a challenge. In your next training session, don't focus on skills. Focus on scanning. Try checking your surroundings every few seconds when off the ball. At first, it feels unnatural. Then it becomes automatic. And once it becomes automatic, your entire game changes. Because football isn't just about what you can do. It's about what you can see. Lesson 2. Stop chasing the ball. Many young players make this mistake. They think being involved means constantly moving toward the ball. So they chase it. Everywhere. All game. The funny thing is, this actually makes them harder to pass to. Why? Because they move into crowded areas, into pressure, into spaces teammates already occupy. Football IQ isn't about finding the ball, it's about finding space. Watch smart midfielders. Sometimes they barely move, but when they do move, it creates an advantage. That's the difference. Random movement versus purposeful movement. Before moving, ask yourself, what problem does this movement solve? Am I creating space, receiving between lines, dragging a defender away, opening a passing lane? Or am I moving simply because I feel like I should? The smartest players aren't always the busiest. They're the most intentional. Lesson 3. Learn to read patterns. Most players react. Elite players predict. Football is full of patterns. The problem is most players never learn to notice them. Think about defenders. After 10 minutes, you can often identify habits. One defender always dives in. Another always shows players outside. Another struggles when turning. Another follows runners too aggressively. These patterns become opportunities, but only if you're paying attention. High IQ players treat matches like information-gathering exercises. They're constantly asking, what's working? What's repeating? Where's the weakness? Who looks uncomfortable? Every answer gives them an advantage. By the second half, they're no longer reacting to the game. They're exploiting it. The best decisions often come from observations made 20 minutes earlier. That's football IQ. Lesson 4. Play the game before you touch the ball. Here's something that separates average players from elite ones. Elite players mentally rehearse situations before they happen. They don't wait. They anticipate. When the ball is traveling toward a teammate, they're already thinking, if he passes to me, what are my options? Can I turn? Can I play forward? Should I bounce it back? Should I switch play? Notice what's happening. They're solving problems before they arrive. This dramatically speeds up decision-making. And in football, faster decisions usually beat better technique. A technically average player making quick decisions often outperforms a skilled player making slow decisions. That's why football IQ can make average players look elite. The game rewards speed of thought, not just speed of feet. Lesson 5. Stop trying to look good. This one hurts. Because many players secretly care more about looking good than being effective. They attempt difficult turns, complicated skills, risky passes, not because they're the best option, because they're impressive. Football IQ requires maturity. Sometimes the smartest play is boring. One touch, simple pass, keep possession, reset, move, the crowd won't notice, but your teammates will, your coach will, and most importantly, the game will reward it. The goal isn't to win highlights. The goal is to win situations. Players with high football IQ understand that every action should increase the team's advantage, not their ego. Practical application. So how do you actually improve your football IQ? Here's a simple system. First, watch football differently. Stop watching the ball. Watch one player for 5 minutes, especially midfielders. Notice how often they scan, how they move, how they create angles, how they position themselves before receiving. Second, during training, give yourself one football IQ focus. Maybe scanning, maybe positioning, maybe checking your shoulder. Don't try improving everything at once. Third, after every match, ask 3 questions. When did I feel rushed? Why did I lose possession? What information was I missing? Those answers reveal football IQ weaknesses faster than any drill. Fourth, focus on understanding rather than memorizing. Football isn't chess. You can't memorize every situation, but you can understand principles, space, timing, angles, pressure, support. The better you understand those concepts, the better your decisions become. Identity level close. Here's the truth. Football IQ isn't some magical talent you're born with. It's a skill, a trainable skill. The reason some players seem naturally composed isn't because they're gifted. It's because they've learned how to process the game. They see more, understand more, and therefore make better decisions. The exciting part. That means you can improve it too. You don't need to become faster. You don't need to become stronger. You don't need 50 new skill moves. Sometimes the biggest leap in your football development comes from seeing the game differently. Because football rewards players who think ahead. And once you start collecting better information, finding better positions, recognizing patterns, and making faster decisions, people will assume you've become more talented. But the truth is simpler. You'll just be playing smarter. If this video helped you, subscribe for more football improvement content focused on the hidden reasons players struggle and the practical solutions that actually make a difference on the pitch. And remember, the best players don't just play the game. They understand it. See you in the next one.